The cover song problem is that you are not understanding the small mistakes that are leading to legal chaos. Video demonetization flagged. It's gotten taken down. Well, I have clients who make a living doing cover songs. Cover songs are algorithm friendly, but the legal trap happens because you thought doing a cover was going to be a great idea, and now you're dealing with video demonetization. Your cover song has gotten flagged. It's gotten taken down. Let's talk about why that happened. And I'm going to give you some tips on what to do in the future. Now, here's the core question that people ask. They go, well, is it legal to do cover songs? The answer is yes. Okay, so this is based on US laws, but the good news is that copyright law is very similar if you happen to be in another country to what we're doing here in the US. So cover songs in general, right? Why do we love them? I'm an artist and I've done lots of cover songs, and cover songs are what I like to call algorithm friendly. So you do a cover song and it just gives a nice way for a new person, a new fan, to realize why you're amazing. Okay, so what I mean by that is when you offer a new song to someone, they have to like the song. If they don't like the song, you've already lost them, right? If they like the song, now they're going to have some time and opportunity to listen to your voice, to look at the instrumentation or your music production. So it's a way to grow an audience and showcase your talent, right? So this is where the problem starts. You go, well, I think it's a great idea to market myself and my band and my project by doing a cover song because cover songs are algorithm friendly, but the legal trap happens because, for example, there's confusion on licensing. What license do I need to get in order to legally comply and do cover songs? Now, one of the myths is, well, cover songs are fair use, right? Is that the case? The answer is no. But actually, under the law, there is what's called a compulsory license. So under 17 USC 115, you have the ability to go and do a cover song legally. Now, music platforms are the ones that are required to get this compulsory license. It used to be that we had to go as creatives to go and get it ourselves and pay the licensing fee. But the bottom line is that most of us didn't know how to do it, where to get it. And so basically the government updated the law some years ago to make it so that music platforms get these licenses. So that's the great news. So if you say, well, I want to do a cover song for pretty much any song and put it on a music streaming platform, can you do that? The answer is yes. But there's a caveat. And this is where you need to pay real close attention. This is where we get into legal problems, is because this license does not extend to video. Okay, so we call them sync licenses, where you go and you negotiate and you say, well, I need to get a license so that I can sync my song to a video. Now, where this kind of falls apart from me, just kind of being both a lawyer, but then also a creative, is I go, there's just such a disconnect. The law right now is set up so we can do songs and put it on streaming platforms, but we're not legally allowed to then put our songs to videos. We have to go and get a sync license. The good news here is that the workaround is actually already taken place and it's being done through direct licensing. So if you're on YouTube, which is obviously one of the biggest platforms, if you want to put your cover song on YouTube in any kind of way, if you shoot a quick video on your phone, if you do something a bit more high budget, if you want to put your video onto YouTube, technically under the law, you're supposed to go in and get this sync license. But I can tell you that if you hire me and we reach out to Universal and say, hey, we want to get this license, it's going to be $5, $10, $15, $20,000. That doesn't make sense. And nor are most people doing this. So the workaround then is record labels have gone and done direct deals with YouTube. So they go, hey, we know that artists and creatives are making these cover videos and they're uploading them to YouTube. And so we are going to go and monetize. But that's actually where the next part of the problem comes into play. So the monetization is happening because there's content ID. Okay, content ID happens when you just upload your cover song. And so all of a sudden YouTube says, oh, Sony has the rights to this cover in that the underlying composition, right? So the song, the original song was written by someone else. And so they identify it through content ID, and then there's an automatic claim put on your video. Now, we can argue and just say, well, that's better than getting a strike. But what happens is that the claim grabs the monetization, so meaning someone else starts earning from your video. Now, you do have the ability to file a claim and say why essentially it should be blocked or you should be receiving the monetization. But the bottom line is that that revenue is going somewhere else. Now, why do we care about this? For example, I have clients who make a living doing cover songs, very successful because they have found that there is a path of least resistance through doing music that are proven, that are doing songs that are proven already, and then through your own artistry that you can transform these songs into something new, right? You can put a song, keep it in the same structure, keep the same words, keep the same melodies, but let's say you transform it into an entirely different genre. You take a very happy sounding song, you slow it down, you put it into a minor key. So there's ways to really transform and make cover songs very, very unique and original, right? So your original covers. And so in any case, there are a lot of artists that are doing this as like their main staple of music creation. And then, I've mentioned to you guys, I've represented artists when they've gone to even sell their cover songs. Our clients have made millions of dollars in the sale of these songs. If you're needing legal help with your career, your business, we got you covered. Feel free to reach out to my law firm. I'm honored to say we have over 100 5-star Google reviews. We offer free case evaluations, which just means that you can give us a call, you can email us, no commitment. We'll just see how we can help. We look forward to hearing from you. So cover songs can be very lucrative, but in the short term, here are some of the problems that you've run into, right? Not just with the licensing, but also with monetization. So you not being able to collect the ad revenue that is actually being earned on the videos on YouTube in real time. Now, how do we make this work for you? I kind of discussed this with a consultation that I did with this artist named Corvix. And Corvix actually has he's one of the examples of just made such a great living as an independent artist doing cover songs and had huge viral moments on not just YouTube, but also on social media. So how do we make this work for anyone who is watching this? Well, number one, I really love cover songs as fillers. So if you do original music, that's great, but you can do cover songs as fillers for your release schedule. And again, they're algorithm friendly. So maybe one of your original songs doesn't quite hit, it doesn't quite resonate. Don't take it personal, right? Just move on to the next thing. And in between, we have a tendency to overwork our original songs, right? So in between, you can have your cover song strategy. And then here's the thing, always think through the path of least resistance. I've had clients who will, for example, go and they license out instrumentals that have been created by other individuals. Okay, so they go, I'm not really a music producer and I want to be able to take something really simple like a piano version of this other person's song or a guitar version. So there's licensing out pre-created cover instrumentals. So I've seen that. You have to be really careful and actually read the terms of service. So meaning the contract that you are signing with a company that you get that kind of license from. But of course, you can do this yourself. So if you do play an instrument, you taking your phone and recording you doing something in a very simple way, don't overcomplicate it. If you are into high production, right, you're a music producer or part of what you do is in the production realm, amazing. I love that for you. And that's probably more of my project. My producer, Orko, he makes everything just larger than life, but there's somewhere in between what I just expressed with like setting up your camera and recording yourself and doing the thing versus doing a full production of a cover. And just think about it as far as how can I make this the path of least resistance so I can really utilize cover songs for the marketing purpose of what I'm trying to do. Now, there's gray area here because now we haven't talked about AI just yet. Now, from every single platform that I've gone and tested, and if you have found something that is different than what I'm going to say, please drop a comment down below and let me know what you have found. But for example, you pop onto, let's say, Suno. And as far as creating covers, the platforms should have filters to not allow users to upload, let's say, Lady Gaga's newest song, right? And to say, I want you to make a cover. These capabilities are not being allowed as far as anywhere that I can find right now. And the cover song versions are of your AI songs that you're creating on these platforms. So as far as I have found, the AI concern really comes with if you are using AI to replicate a voice for your cover song, that's number one. And I did have to talk to a client in regards to this and just to say my biggest concern with using AI in general for your voices is a little wider. It's like, do you have the rights to the publicity, right? The person's voice that you're using. This comes back again to the contract, the terms of service, right? But also the underlying composition, because going back to the law piece of this, you are okay to create your own original version of someone else's song. But let's be clear, I'm not saying sampling. That is nowhere in this conversation because this is a really common example. Someone might say, well, I did a cover song, but then for the second verse, I changed the words. And so instead of it being like the singing portion, I made it a rap. Or I switched around the words, but not too much, just a couple of sentences. All those examples that I just gave where you are changing the essence of the song, it's no longer the second verse. You did something different. Well, that's no longer a cover song, most likely. And so if it's not a cover song anymore, what is it? And the answer is it's likely an interpolation. Basically, there's two things if it's not a cover. If it's not a cover, it's usually you've sampled, you've taken something from the actual recorded version of someone else's song. You can't do that without permission. Or it's interpolation in that you have interpreted that person's song into something new. And for interpolations, it actually is the same process. We still have to go reach out to the original creator, right? Or the record label that owns it and to say, hey, we're doing an interpolation. We need the second verse to be this different thing. We have to negotiate it and go through the whole process. So the reason why cover songs, like true cover songs, are awesome because you don't have to go through that whole process, right? It's actually written into our copyright law right now for you to go and do these cover songs and put it on streaming platforms. Now, the exception, very important here, the exception to you putting your song on streaming platforms and then not having to do anything else, of course, is if you are not just streaming your song. So I'd given you the one example with if you put it to video, and the workaround with that is that there really are direct licenses. This isn't certainly legal advice, but it's just kind of common sense. If, for example, you go onto YouTube and you search for the cover song that you're planning on doing, and it turns out that there's like 10 immediate results of other people who are doing that cover song and they've been up for years on the platform, there's a good chance that the record label that owns that song has not filed takedowns of those videos. You see what I'm saying? So the question will be, well, how do I know? How do I know which record label has a deal with YouTube in order to permit me to not have a problem when I go and release my cover? And we don't know that. So that's why it's the wild, wild west out there. And we do have this gray area. But practically speaking, that's why I want to say with total certainty, you're okay to put your music on streaming platforms. But for you DIYers out there, when you are doing, let's say, vinyls, you have CDs, you have cassette tapes, right? USBs, I mean, whatever you're doing. If your music, your covers, are no longer just on Spotify, they're no longer just on streaming platforms, that's when you actually need to go and get a compulsory license, right? So you go and you get an actual mechanical license from a company like Easy Song Licensing or Harry Fox Agency to make sure that you account for and that you pay to the rights owners what's owed. Because otherwise, if you don't do any of that, then you're good to go. And the music platforms are in charge of having to pay those fees, okay? So that's great. Now, in this realm of kind of like, well, as I'm kind of looking at potentially incorporating AI, my caution to you guys, because you're using this, like the AI, not just for helping with music creation, but even you music producers, right, as you're sampling, and you'll go and you'll use AI music to sample from, is that we still have these pending litigation cases. So major labels are suing music AI platforms because they go, the music that you're spitting out is based on our music, which was never authorized. And so if the end result music, it wasn't cleared in the first place, that makes me really concerned. What is going to get accidentally flagged in what you're using? So I'm always going to say and caution your use of AIs as tools in your creation process, including when it comes to cover songs. So now, where do we go from here? What's the call to action? I forgot to say this. Don't forget to subscribe right now. This channel is dedicated to you and helping you with your music career. So if that all sounds good, please subscribe. So here's the workaround ideas. One, I kind of mentioned it with this royalty-free backing tracks idea. So essentially you hire someone else. If you can't do it yourself, or you can't bust out your own piano or guitar and do it yourself, you can hire someone else, right? Such as a work for hire, a Fiverr kind of thing. There are platforms that also generate this music, right? And they give you a license to use it. But I'm just a big fan of path of least resistance. If you have the capacity to actually do this yourself and just record yourself or do a live stream, right? To connect with people, that's where you're going to have the most success, right? Because you'll have an opportunity to pump out more content. And for me, I can just promise you, like in the creative realm and any realm that I act in as a lawyer, right, as anything, that you producing as much content as possible is the most important thing. And we get so hung up. We get so hung up in our creation process. And that can even happen with cover songs because we're like, no, it has to be just so amazing. I do want to try to give this to you to encourage you and say, look, doing cover songs is great, but I do need you to be cautious. I need you to be cautious that, and keep this phrase in mind, the essence of the song. If the essence of the song is the structure, so for example, if the song goes verse, pre-chorus, chorus. If you go in and you change it and now it's chorus, pre-chorus, chorus, verse, right? So you've changed the structure. The essence of the song is no longer the same. If you substantially change the lyrics, the essence of the song is no longer the same. So always think through that. That's how we do this when we're looking at, is this really a cover? Okay, when you guys run into these problems. So the biggest mistake that creatives are making right now is that they're not understanding these very small mistakes that are being made that's resulting in a lot of legal chaos. I don't want that to be you. So hopefully you found this helpful. Leave a comment down below and we'll see you on the next one.